Hello, guys.
Hello, everybody. How are we today?
I am Vin.
Oh, you're back in New Zealand, I see. Okay, so today I just want to check how everybody is going with their debate preparation.
I'm
And
sending my Zoom after you finish this lesson in the Zalo group that Jenny made.
good, you guys have got your team meeting today. That's good. Just remember we do have different teams from last time, so make sure that everybody's got the right team for this debate. And
I am still in proposition.
okay, cool.
Teacher, why there's two Jenny?
I don't know. Maybe Jenny's a magician and she can double herself. So there's two of her now, which won't be fair for the debate if there's 5 on 4. Okay, so yeah, I just want to check to see how everybody's going with their debate preparation and to make sure that we we understand how we'd like the speeches to go, how we'd like to write the speeches. So, have you guys been studying those documents that I gave you for how to structure your speeches?
I am still studying the second proposition speaker.
Well, that's good. So you've been through a couple of them so far, which is good.
But I didn't get those documents.
They're in the Zalo group.
Okay, got it.
I bring some sweet stuff. I don't care.
So many sweets in the Zalo chips.
Eat them.
Lots of
I'll
eat them after the Zoom.
I am at Cordis Hotel with Lucia, and we are meeting each other in the lobby.
Oh, goodness. Hang on just a second.
You joined the food emoji party?
I did.
I have some yogurt. I don't care.
Wait.
This is Zoe.
Teacher, I am only gonna send healthy foods in there.
That's good. That's good that you're only going to send healthy foods.
Teacher, my sister is one of your students in the writing class.
Yeah, I remember your sister is Zoe.
I've got a sweet potato.
No.
There.
Okay, I'm just trying to see.
Camera or punch. I'll punch at your face.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to send you guys a quick picture here. So it's just a screenshot of your a screenshot of the Zalo conversation. They're the documents that you want to look out for so you can study how the speeches should go. So we'll go over that again, but we'll focus a little bit more on the individual sections of the speech today. So I'll share my screen. Okay, so according to my notes, your debate topic is, should children be required to perform chores at home? Very good. So just having a look first at the first proposition speaker, I just want to focus more on the language today. And so if we have a look at this first paragraph here, we see that the language is very formal and it's very polite. So we want to make sure. So first of all, in our introduction, let's have a look at what we've got to do. So we want to greet the audience, the judges, and the opposing team. We want to clearly state the topic of the debate, and we want to present our team's position on the topic. So if we have a look at the first paragraph here. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges. So because they're judging the debate, we want to, how do I put this politely? We want to make them seem important, and we also show respect to our opponents. So it's not just like hello to the audience, to the judges, and to the people that are going to lose. We want to be very respectful. So ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges.
Want to be polite.
Exactly. We want to be very polite and respectful. And we also, as this comes part of the signposting, this technique here, signposting. So use clear signposts to guide the audience through your speech. Because remember, each speaker is going to present an incredible amount of information in this debate. So it's going to be very, very hard for the judges and the audience to kind of keep up and to just keep that high level of concentration to really listen. So obviously, when I say this, I don't mean that the judges and the audience are actually stupid, but we basically want to treat them like they're stupid. Make it so obvious that nobody can be confused about what we're talking about.
Okay.
Teacher,
So-
I have a surprise today.
Oh, fantastic. You can show us at the end of class. We've got something to look
Okay.
forward to. So here we have, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected opponents. So I stand before you today as the first speaker of the affirmative team to argue in favor of the motion that the use of renewable energy sources should be significantly increased. So very, very obvious. We know that they're the first speaker of the affirmative team because the moderator will announce that and say, please welcome the first member of the affirmative team to speak their arguments. We firmly believe...
You mean we need to say like that in our next debate on Monday?
Yes, so you want to start treating these practice debates. If anyone in the class intends on joining the NCSN Championship Debate Tournament, you want to treat these debates like real debates so that you have a chance to really practice and get ready for the tournament.
You need to practice, and then you need to say everything. You need to memorize it, and you also need to say it like this.
So you won't have to memorize your speech because you will be encouraged, or you will be allowed to have if you want note cards, so you can have little cards with notes about your speech on it so you know what you've got to say next. Or if you can work out a way, you can use, like, you can have your speech up on the screen like this. Or if you want to, you can have visual aids, so you can prepare a slideshow to display your evidence, and you can have notes on there. So there are lots of different options, but you won't have to memorize a whole, I think, 3.5 or 4 minute speech. So you will be allowed to have tools to make it easier for yourself.
What if you can't memorize it, or you can't remember what it is? You only remember the first 2 parts.
Well, that's why it pays to prepare in advance. Yes, Lucia.
Ben is sending me some kind of dot messages. I think it's dot dashes.
You know what it is?
Are you
It's
communicating in Morse
You know
code
what it
then?
is.
message is, oh, I know. I
Morse
think it's
code.
Morse code. Yeah.
Yes.
Dots
have no
and
idea.
dashes.
I have no idea what it actually says because I can't speak Morse code, but I do know that it is Morse code.
I know
But
it.
yeah, so
I sometimes learn it, but can't
Is
understand what it
translate.
means.
it'd be a very good language to learn to communicate
like
with your friends. It'd be a very good language to communicate with your friends because nobody speaks it anymore. So if you're one of the few people that do, you'll have your own secret language. Anyway, so yeah, back to answering Emma's question. You won't have to remember your whole speech. You want to prepare everything in advance. That's why I've given you these guides so that you can write your speech according to which member of which team you are. You know what you've got to do. And then you can have your little speech cards, or you can have it written on your computer screen while you deliver your arguments. So you'll have your speech there. But my biggest tip will be to practice, practice, practice. So I want you to practice your speech so much that you can remember it, because your presentation can probably be the most important part about a debate. Because if you're nice and confident, so ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected opponents, I stand before you today as the first speaker of the affirmative team to argue in favor of the motion that the use of renewable energy sources should be significantly increased. If you speak it like that and you sound very confident, then the judges are going to, the judges will work to the assumption that, well, they've obviously done their research, their rehearsals, they know what they've got to say, they're very confident. They're going to already listen to your speech with more enthusiasm. But if you're standing there delivering your speech and going, ladies and gentlemen and esteemed judges and respected opponents. So if you're stumbling over words and you're very slow in your delivery, the judges are going to sit there and go, oh God, I don't even think they believe what they're saying. So really, confidence is the key. So practice, practice, practice. Use tools like Google Translate
So
to
it
help
would
you.
look like that you were looking at a piece of paper reading it.
Yeah, so it's okay and can be very good if you look down at your paper every now and then. So if you have a look at my eyes, I'll try and get close to the camera and show you the difference. So if you're just looking at it, so if you're looking at the audience or at the camera and delivering your speech confidently, and every once in a while you look down at the page to get your notes about where you are. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected opponents, I stand before you today as the first speaker of the affirmative team. I'm looking at you, I look confident. But if I'm giving my speech and all you see is me looking down and going, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected opponents, I stand before you today as the first speaker. Like, it just looks like someone's just looking down and they're not confident. So that really is the most important thing.
You want to look at the screen, look at everyone, look at the judges.
Yeah, exactly. So how many of you have joined my public speaking class on Sunday nights?
Me.
I know, I think Emma has. Yeah, Emma's in the class. So have you started looking for a speech to analyze yet for the homework?
I don't know which one to choose.
There's hundreds and thousands of them. So just pick a speaker that you like and then just watch one of their speeches and do the analysis. But what you'll notice is they're very engaging with their audience. So they're very so you'll notice that a lot of speakers will actually look in a specific direction at it looks like they're looking at someone and talking to one particular person in the audience from time to time. and they're very engaging. So anyone that gets looked at during a speech, they will honestly feel like that speaker is speaking to them and no one else. And that can be a very powerful technique to use, because again, it's confidence, you're engaging with your audience, and it's like you're talking to them, not just to a nameless, faceless group of an audience. So yeah, that confidence really is important. But yeah, back to the speech here. So this, let's have a look so far. So we have greeted the audience in the opposing team, and we've clearly stated the topic and the motion of the debate. So next, if we have a look, you're going to present your team's position on the topic. So we firmly believe that this step is crucial in addressing the pressing challenges posed by climate change and securing a sustainable future for generations to come. So they're very obviously supporting the motion. There's no, you don't need to kind of think, wait, did they just say that they are? It's no, obvious, very obvious. And again, we come to the signposting. So let me now present our arguments in support of this proposition. So we now know we're moving on from the introduction, we're moving into the arguments. Some more signposting with our first argument. So firstly, it is undeniable that the world is facing a climate crisis of unprecedented proportions. So first argument clearly stated. We then go on to expand on that, going back to our teal paragraph structure. So we've got our explanation. So greenhouse gas emissions from fossil fuels have led to rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, and the loss of biodiversity. By significantly increasing the use of renewable resources such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power, we can substantially reduce our carbon footprint and curb the impacts. So we're getting into evidence now as well, with listing off examples of problems that we're having, and we're proposing a solution. So transitioning to renewables is not only environmentally responsible, but economically advantageous, as it opens the door to innovation and job creation. We're going into tying the whole paragraph together now. So we see how with signposting, making it obvious, and this teal paragraph structure, we're able to create a very persuasive argument, and we're able to make a speech that people are going to want to listen to, be interested by, and hopefully be persuaded by. So is that making sense to everybody?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Good. Good. Terrific. So we've done our opening statement. We've done the main argument in the first paragraph. We've clearly explained the importance of the topic. So what do we stand to lose by not going green with our energy? We go to, let's have a look for definitions and context. So we need to provide relevant background information, define any key terms or concepts. So let's have a look to see if this has done that. So yeah, so we firmly believe this step is crucial in addressing the pressing challenges. So we're talking about the importance of the issue. There's the relevance and the context of it. So yeah, so using renewable energy is important to address the climate change and the challenges we're facing with it. And then we continue on with our next argument. So again, we're signposting. Secondly, so that word there alone lets the audience and the judges know, okay, we've presented the first argument. We're now moving into the second argument. So reliance on fossil fuels poses security and geopolitical risks. So we're talking about, in this case, the instability in some countries that produce a lot of oil, and that the sale of that oil provides most of their money pretty much. We go on to expand. Many nations are heavily dependent on fossil fuel imports. So some countries can't produce their own they can't produce their own oil, they can't produce their own fossil fuels. So we're adding on another serious argument here, which can lead to volatile energy prices and geopolitical tensions. So just to use Australia as an example, I remember when I was a kid and petrol used to cost about 95 cents to $1 per litre. And then I remember as petrol in the first time it got to over $1 per litre, there was major outrage. Everyone was angry. And yeah, but nowadays I think it's close to like $1.80 per litre. Sometimes it's over $2 per litre. And yeah, those problems are just getting worse. It creates very angry citizens, and yeah, creates a lot of problems for the government to try and fix. So yeah, we're talking about how important fossil fuels can be here. Expanding on it, so by harnessing renewable energy sources that are abundantly available within our borders, so we're talking about each country becoming more reliant on its own energy production abilities, we can enhance energy independence and reduce vulnerability to external energy supply disruptions. So if there's a problem with importing oil and petrol, and we need to, and we don't want to pay those prices, then it's not going to be a problem because we have energy available within our own country. And again, we're sticking to the teal paragraph structure here. And then again, thirdly, we introduce our next arguments. So increased use of renewable energy will lead to improved public health outcomes. So less toxic fumes coming out of the cars, just overall better air quality, healthier people. So again, using our teal paragraph structure here, fossil fuels are associated with air pollution, which negatively impacts respiratory health, so our lungs and our breathing ability, and it makes cardiovascular diseases worse. That's what exacerbate means, to make something worse. So yeah, again, talking about our heart and basically our system of blood vessels, which is related to the lungs, because we breathe in air to pump through our bodies and our blood. So yeah, now we offer a solution. By transitioning to cleaner energy, we can reduce air pollution levels, leading to healthier communities and lower healthcare costs. So this can be a big issue for some people. So see how they're tying lots of issues back to the topic. So that is that's why it's such a good argument, because they're making so many good points and tying them all back to our initial topic of this is why we should use green energy. And then additionally, renewable energy technologies are less water intensive, so they don't need as much water to keep cool than conventional power plants, conserving the precious resource and ensuring its availability for essential needs. So yet another benefit, we reduce our water usage and we are able to, we're able to use that water for more important things like drinking water. So after that, we have a look at the structure here. So we've done our definitions and context, we've done our points and arguments, and now we prepare for rebuttals. So this isn't making a rebuttal because, again, the other team hasn't spoken yet, but this is just preparing for some things they might say. And this is kind of trying to trip up the other team before they've had a chance to speak. So again, this is the advantage of the proposition team, that they get to speak first. So rebuttal. And so we remember, as well as guessing their counter arguments and addressing them, we also need to show that we understand the opposing side's perspective or the other side's point of view. The importance of that we discussed last time is that because rebuttal is such a big part of a debate, if you don't do research into the other team's point of view, then how can you possibly argue against it if you don't know about it and understand it? So let's have a look at the rebuttals here. So 3 good arguments, all with evidence and constantly bringing it back to the motion of the debate. And now we move into anticipation. So in anticipation of counter arguments, we recognize that some may claim that renewable energy sources are not as reliable or cost effective as fossil fuels. So they are already beginning this part of their speech by recognizing that the other team can come up with good points of view or good arguments that can win them the debate. But we also then need to bring it back to, here's a reason that makes that a less effective argument. Here's reasons why our side of the debate is still better, even though they may have a good point of view. Oh, bless. Look at Ben policing Morse code. This is not valid Morse code. I love it. So yeah, now we go on to refute their arguments. And we go on to, again, make our side of the debate stronger. So, however, advancements in technology have significantly improved the efficiency and affordability of renewables. So we're saying that the money, we don't have to spend as much money on it now because the technology's been here longer, it's getting better, and it's more affordable. And it can also be, more efficient too. So additionally, investing in renewable energy now will lead to long-term cost savings. So we're talking about into the future. While it might be expensive now to set up, it's going to be less expensive in the future than continuously paying for fossil fuels. So over the long term, it's going to work out cheaper. And then, of course, we talk about the benefits to the environment. So again, always bringing it back to why it's the best idea to believe in the motion. So in this case, why it's the best idea to believe in renewable energy. Then we have our conclusion. Where is it here? So we want to summarize the main points that we've raised, and we want to remind the audience of what we're arguing. And then we want to reinforce the importance of our team's position. So once again, why is it so important in this case to believe in and invest in fossil fuel, invest in cleaner energy, not fossil fuels? So in conclusion, increasing the use of renewable energy sources is not just an option, but a necessity in the face of a global climate crisis. So they mentioned in the beginning of the speech that there's an undeniable climate crisis and problem with fossil fuels. By embracing clean, sustainable energy, we can safeguard our planet so we can reduce the fossil fuel, reduce our dependency on fossil fuels, reduce, what's the word I'm looking for? Air pollution, strengthen the energy security. So back to the argument where we talked about green energy can make us less reliant on the imported fossil fuels and can promote public health. Again, better cardiovascular health leads to better quality air, so our lungs aren't getting damaged. The benefits of transitioning to this renewable energy are vast and far-reaching, and it is our moral and practical duty to take decisive action. So going back to mentioning all of the benefits of it. So again, reminding everyone that there's lots of reasons. So restating this sentence here without any details to it. And the time to act is now, and I urge you to support this motion to pave the way for a brighter and sustainable future. Thank you. So we are already starting to encourage the judges and the audience to believe our side of the argument. So yeah, so we see here that while this speech, it'll only take you somewhere between, I'd say 3 to 5 minutes to deliver this speech. There's a lot of information there and it's very well structured. So that's why it's important to put in so much time to do your research, to get good evidence, to, what's the word I'm looking for? And to rehearse so you know your speech and you can deliver it. Because if you're confident, you can speak your speech a bit faster. You can pick up the speed to make sure you get it all in time. But if you're not confident with your speech and you haven't practiced, then the slower you talk, the longer it's going to take to read. So I could read through this paragraph quickly in probably about 30 to 40 seconds. Or if I wasn't confident with it, I could stumble through it and it'll probably take about a minute, and there's already a bigger chunk of your speaking time taken. So do we have any questions about anything we've talked about?
No.
Good. So I am expecting some genuinely amazing speeches in this next debate, and I can't wait to listen to you all and listen to your great speeches that I know you'll be practicing and planning. Okay, so let's have a look at another speech so we can have a look. So first opposition, let's have a look at first opposition. So again, introduction, greet the audience and the opposing team and the judges, restate the topic and clearly state your team's position. Let's have a look at this introduction. And defining the motion, I'm sure, will be in the same paragraph. So this is the opposition team's chance to clarify the meaning of the motion and any terms that may be open to interpretation. And you can highlight any misunderstandings about the motion. So let's have a look. Oop, too far. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished judges and esteemed opponents, again, being respectful to everybody in the debate and greeting them. As the first speaker of the negative team, I rise to address the motion that the use of renewable energy sources should be significantly increased. So again, we're being very obvious. As the first speaker of the negative team, I'm addressing the motion and then we restate the motion. While we acknowledge the importance of sustainable energy solutions, we firmly believe that the motion put forth by the affirmative team is not without its flaws. Allow me to present our arguments against this proposition. So we've cleared up that we still think that sustainable energy is important in our redefinition of the topic. But we firmly believe that this motion is not without its flaws because the proposition team wants us to go fully green and stop our reliance on fossil fuels immediately. And we're going to point out the problems with doing that. So we're not saying that, that renewable energy is bad. We're simply saying that doing it so quickly and completely is bad. We move on to the first argument. Again, we've got, firstly, we're signposting. So the audience knows what we're talking about. We present our first argument, essential to recognize that renewable energy sources have their merits. They cannot entirely replace fossil fuels in the immediate future. So then we give our first reason, the intermittency and unpredictability of renewable sources like solar and wind pose challenges to energy stability. So with these, so because they are still quite new technologies, we're making the argument that, what are we talking about here? We're making the argument that it's still not quite a perfect technology, so we might have power outages if we entirely rely on it. We have a couple of cookies in the class by the looks of it. We've got Lucia and Chips the Cookies.
Haha, I like to copy Chip's name.
Oh, well then, in that case.
And I got an idea. I copy a cookie and put it in my name. Ha.
I am the cookie god. I will make the world rain cookies.
What about
Well, I'm gonna be Mr. Archer the donut.
haha, funny this. Oh, but what's the donuts?
I guess I'll have to find one.
You can copy.
It is
an
raining
emoji.
cookies.
You can copy an emoji cup. You can copy an emoji donut and put it in your name tag.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Yes,
DJ Michael,
got-
you sometimes look like a child.
Got a donut in my name. I'm happy.
Wow, so many cookies. There's about hundreds and thousands cookies.
Okay, so let's get back. Let's get back to this argument. So unlike traditional power plants, which provide steady and reliable energy, renewables are subject to weather conditions and require expensive energy storage. So we're talking about how unreliable the renewable energy can be. So again, we're just coming up with more reasons as to why the motion is a bad idea. We present again, secondly, signposting. We present our second argument. So we're talking about the cost this time. So, and then we say, while the other team are saying that in the long term, it'll be cheaper, we can't ignore how much it's going to cost us in the beginning. So then we talk about circumstances where it might be unaffordable.
Just look at me.
Lucia, the ice cream.
Hey, but look at Jenny the pretzel.
Jenny the pretzel. Good job. Okay. So yeah, so we see here, so through these arguments, here that we are acknowledging that the other team has a good point of view. So we're not just saying, nah, their argument's rubbish, don't even listen to them, it's a waste of time. Because I think I said this in your last lesson, but other than really obvious arguments like killing people is bad and stealing is bad and stuff like that, so those arguments, like you can't really argue that because that's just true. But in topics like this, yes.
Debating also needs some facts, some evidence that's special.
It does. It does. So in this case, I'll be honest, when I was making these speeches, I didn't do a whole lot of actual physical research. I relied more on examples. But yeah, so for example, in here, if you were to find a study that, so yeah, if you were to find a study that was done to check the prices of energy, what it would cost to do this, then it would be much better and make an even stronger argument to say, for example, I'm just going to make this up, but let's say you found a study done by the Energy Research Department of the American government shows that these costs could lead to higher energy prices for consumers. So yeah, so if you did find research to back that up, then yes, definitely include that. The strongest evidence you can provide is evidence that you found from like proper studies and scientific experiments and all those sorts of things, or like important opinions from people that know what they're talking about. So let me just revert that to what it was. Whoop. So yes, Ben's right. Definitely go for evidence that you found on the internet or that you found wherever you find it, but definitely use evidence that you can quote and say these facts came from these people or this organization, because it just makes your argument so much stronger when you can quote somebody else. So yeah, and as well as you've noticed, same thing here in these arguments, we're always bringing it back to the motion here. So in our case, when we bring it back to the motion, we always bring it back to problems with the motion. So in contrast, fossil fuels offer a more affordable and accessible energy option, particularly for regions heavily reliant on coal or oil. So bringing it back to that, it's not the best idea to just go straight into green energy 100%. We present another argument here: increasing the use of renewable energy can have unintended environmental consequences. So we found another reason. We give the explanation leading into the evidence here. So we talk about the rare metals that are used can harm ecosystems. And then we also talk about that we can disrupt the natural habitat of animals. And we can also, it can also lead to arguments about what we should use big chunks of land for, because these big wind farms are not, what do we call it? These big wind farms, they are huge. They take up a lot of space, and there are some people that think that space could be used for better things.
But teacher, what does that mean? Mr. Archer the donut, what does that mean?
Lucia the ice cream, what does what mean?
The speech you just change your own name to Mr. Archer the donut.
Hang on a second, Emma. Sorry, Lucia, say that again.
Means that you what does that word you just read? That word
Habitat disruption?
I don't know what it means. About the wind
Do you mean
farm.
habit? Oh,
You
so
change your name to Lucia the cake.
So a wind farm, so talking about renewable energy, a wind farm is basically, imagine like a big open paddock, and there's lots of giant propellers out there. So these big propellers, we're talking about, imagine your school. These propellers are probably the same size as your school, your biggest school building. And there's like probably somewhere between 30 to 50 of these giant propellers. And as the wind blows, they blow the propellers around and around. And as those propellers go around and around, they create electricity. And then that electricity gets stored so that people can use it to power their houses. So that is what a wind farm is. It's a method of creating electricity by using propellers or using the wind to blow those propellers to make electricity. That's a wind farm. So let's have a look here. So we
Teacher.
have defined,
Teacher.
yes,
Why is your name Mr. Archer the donut?
because I wanted to copy you guys with Emma the ice, Lucia the cake, Chips
I
the
will
cookie.
give you another name.
I don't want another name. And Jenny the pretzel. I like my name, Mr. Archer the donut. Gordon Ramsay calls people a donut when they're being silly.
You should name
Hey,
yourself
you love.
Mr.
Baby,
Archer the waffle.
Hey,
I don't want to be a waffle. I'm happy
Teacher,
being a donut.
teacher,
Yes.
I got a silly name for you. I'm going to put it in the chat box.
Okay, but don't change my name yet because I like being a donut.
Oh, I cannot change your name. I don't have magic.
I have magic when I am at the cafe.
Mr. Archer the waffle. I like being a donut better. Anyway, let's have a look now for the burden of proof. So remembering that it's not up to the opposition to prove the motion wrong. It's up to
Teacher,
the,
I'm going to
hang on a second, Lucia. Hang on. So remembering, so it's not up to the opposition team to prove the motion wrong. It's up to the proposition team to prove the motion correct. And that's what you'll notice when you read through these arguments, is that while the
Hey, teacher,
Wow.
this game is going to make everyone laugh. Just look in the chat.
Mr. Archer the jelly glazed donut.
I like Chips's name better than the name Lucia gave me. I don't want to be a poopy pants.
What? Yeah.
Change your name to Mr.
that is
Archer the jelly
amazing.
glazed donut.
I just want to
That's
be a
much
donut. It's
sillier.
easier to say. It's easier to say. Anyway, so focusing on the burden of proof. So if you'll notice the way these arguments are structured, you'll notice that the proposition team are arguing for the motion. And the opposition team, they're not so much arguing against the motion as they are finding problems with the opposition teams, with the proposition team's arguments. So the proposition argue for the motion, and the opposition team are trying to make the proposition team look weak. They're trying to make their arguments look weak. So let's go through this and have a look. So we see here that in all of these arguments, so again, so whilst proponents of the motion argue for long-term benefits, the financial burden cannot be ignored. So we're saying, yeah, they have a point, but here's the problem with their argument. And then we go into this next one. So we're talking about the production and disposal of renewable technologies. Again, it can be a good idea, but here's the problem with it. They use rare metals and chemicals that can harm ecosystems. So we found a problem with their argument. Again, so the pursuit of renewable energy should not overshadow the need to invest in clean technologies that complement existing energy sources. So they raise a good point, but here's the problem with their argument. And then they go on to say, they go on to make their own case stronger. So here's why their argument is wrong. Clean coal and natural gas technologies are advancing, and they show potential to reduce emissions. And it's dealing with a problem of green energy, which is reliability. And then let's have a look up the top here. So and as well, we're also anticipating potential responses. So we're preparing for rebuttals, and we're delivering these counter arguments. And we do that again to show that we've considered the other team's point of view. And then in our, what?
Mr. I know. Lucia is sending bad names for you.
And sending those and chips, you send those ideas for me.
I've been nothing but nice to you, Lucia, and you go and give me names like that. I'm gonna
But just
cry.
send those
Change your
ideas.
name to Mr. Archer, the jelly lazy donut.
Oh gosh. Anyway, let's finish this off. So we prepare for the rebuttals against the other team. And then in our conclusion, we want to summarize our main arguments, and we want to show that the affirmative team has not met the burden of proof. They've not proved their arguments right because we've presented arguments that say, no, they're not quite right. Oh, excuse me, hiccup. So let's have a look at our final paragraph. So first of all, signposting in conclusion,
share
making it
a
very
joke.
obvious.
Teacher, may I share a joke in the end of the Zoom?
End of the class, yes. So we, the negative team, recognize the significance of renewable energy sources in the global fight against climate change. So we're not just saying, nah, that's wrong, that's bad, they're just wrong, they lose, nah. We're saying again, yes, the other team does raise some good points, but they haven't thought the issue through properly. And here's why. Here's the problems with the argument they're presenting. So here it is. However, we firmly contend that a hasty and exclusive push towards renewables may have adverse effects on energy reliability, economic growth, and the environment. So we're going back over our own arguments. So if we are to just very quickly move towards only using green energy, this could cause some problems with the reliability of our energy. This could cause problems with the economy and spending the money on this technology. Can people afford it? And the problems with the environment. So we've gone back over all of our arguments to contest that that the other team has not thought their position through properly. Our stance is not to dismiss the importance of renewables, but to advocate for a more balanced approach. So again, we're going back to our redefinition of the topic of the debate. So we're not saying that renewable energy is bad. We're not saying it's not important, but we're saying it shouldn't be the only thing we think about. We need to think about how is this going to affect the people in the country? How is this going to affect how much money this costs them? And how can we make sure that we don't just move into this too quickly and shut down the entire country's energy supply? So we're constantly going back to that. They've got a good idea, but here's the problem with what they're saying. One that integrates cleaner technologies and considers the practical challenges we face in the present. So we're thinking of ways to move towards green energy, but not so fast and not entirely. And then finally, we urge you to reject the motion and consider a more comprehensive and sustainable energy strategy. So again, we're saying that their point of view is a bad idea because we need to make sure that we, again, don't shut down the whole country while we're making this transition. And then, of course, thank you for listening. So you want to just finish with a thank you. Yeah.
Teacher, for the last 3 minutes, can we go over a joke?
Are we done yet?
My goodness. I've just got one last thing to say, and then
Okay.
yes, and then yes, we can do our
May
jokes.
I share my joke?
Ben the
And
presidential
I will
bunny.
show you my surprise.
Ben the presidential bunny.
But he looks like a
Someone
madman.
draw bunny ears on Ben.
Come on.
Oh,
Look at
bless.
this.
Anyway, so my
Hey,
my
can I share
final
my
point.
joke now?
1 minute. So just my
Share my
final point.
joke.
My final point with this lesson is that, again, so just make sure that you read these speeches, and in these speeches, I want you to use a dictionary and a thesaurus to make sure you understand the words you don't understand. And I also want you to use Google Translate to listen to the words and how they're pronounced so that you can start to learn this more formal English. And yeah, so really, really increase the quality of your speeches. You did great last time, but now we need to start preparing for how to really, really write a good debate speech. So on Friday, I will most likely, and I have to say, my goodness, earlier today, I went to the doctor's office to get my ears cleaned out, and they feel so much better. They feel so much better.
What cleaned out? I didn't hear clearly.
I got my ears cleaned out.
Ew.
I know. So like all the icky earwax and stuff came out today. My ears feel so much better.
May
Oh,
I
you know-
share my joke?
What I heard
You
my ears.
mean like
they're
you
wet.
mean you were like one of them in the ASMR review that they clean out stuff
Yeah.
and then they pop
yeah.
your
Yeah. May you
Yeah.
share?
So like I sat there in the chair and the guy stuck the little camera in my ear. And so I could see the inside of my ear and it was all gross. And there was like earwax and all this gunk stuck around my ear.
do you have any algae and mushrooms in your
No,
ear?
there were no mushrooms in my ear,
Teacher.
but there was
May
lots of wax and lots of keratin. So there was lots of
Teacher,
goodies.
may you share my joke?
You can, but so yeah, there was lots of goop and stuff to come out. It was so good. They use this little air sucking thing. So like, they stuck this little thing in my ear and it like clamped onto the earwax and like sucked it out. Oh, it was so good.
Me.
Teacher.
Okay, before Lucia
I-
explodes with excitement, let's hear her joke.
Oh, my joke is a little annoying.
I have two.
It's a warning. It's a little annoying. Yes. What is your judge real name?
I'm gonna have to start thinking up names
No.
for you, Lucia.
Okay, I have one joke
Under
about
the
name.
paper.
One joke about.
Go on, Ben. Let's hear your joke.
Then my surprise will be next.
Okay. What's your joke, Ben?
The joke about. I sent it.
David the chili one, Star the pancake. You missed
Hey.
Jenny. How could you do that? Ben. Oh,
Oh yes, I told him. It's
David the ice block.
I called him the chilly one because the whole class he don't open the camera and he doesn't say anything.
You too. Jelly the jelly.
The
I've got a good
first
one.
time David just
Lucy
say
had the stinky food from Mr. Archer to Lucia.
I had to think of one for Lucia because she thought of like 6 for me.
I will send Lucia a name for her. It works for her. It is great.
David, what's a cat's favorite dessert?
Milk. Cat food.
Chocolate mouse. Mr. Archer, the man in the hat. Mr. Archer, the stinky bum. Oh, not to David. That was meant to go to everybody.
Looks a little funny.
Teacher, I have a very good name for Lucia. Look in the chat box.
Lucia the Where do you guys think of these names? That Mr. Archer.
I think I'm Lucia. It works for her. Mr.
Now
Archer.
Lucia's gonna have to think of a name for you, Chips.
I have
Anyway,
one joke about the person in the restaurant.
Mr. Archer.
what was that, Ben?
I have a joke about the person in the restaurant.
Go on, let's hear it. Send us your joke.
No, I don't send. I talk it.
Ah,
Teacher,
say
I
it then.
got a good name for chips.
Oh goodness.
Tell it.
Go on, Ben. What's your joke about a guy in a restaurant?
Okay, so then let's see. There's a customer go into the restaurant. He is playing on his phone, and a person with an uniform goes to him and said, "May I take your order?" Then the customer doesn't respond, and still the man with the uniform asks again, "May I take your order?" And the customer was fuming. Do you see what I'm doing? Aren't you supposed to be a waiter?
Joke is a joke.
Aren't you supposed to be a waiter? Because
Oh God.
It is later.
but seriously, this class is getting bad.
Oh, hey.
No, do not.
David just
Why
said,
camera wire?
knock knock.
Hey, teacher, I got a good name for you. I'm going to send it in the
Oh
chat.
no, that's no. I don't. I'm sure.
Oh
that
yeah,
name-
Captain Underpants by that killer kid.
Guys, you're all talking over each other one at a time.
I'm not talking.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Pigs.
No, I am not a teacher. I have a copy of Captain Underpants. It
Yes.
is
I'm
collector's
just
edition.
I'm just gonna send this in the
I
chat
also
so you
got-
guys can
I
read
also
it.
Teacher.
got- Yeah, wait for me. I got one.
Teacher, I have a collector's edition of Captain Underpants.
Mr.
That's a
Archer,
good
the
story.
man
Look at
with
this.
a very serious face.
Look at this.
Hey, Chad.
It is moving.
Oh, it's got a
picture.
holographic cover. That's cool.
It is collector's edition.
And mine also have one.
They're not selling it at the bookstore.
Oh,
Oh
very
yes,
nice.
boxers.
I bought it
Boxers.
when the library got shut down and I get it. Do you have a collector's edition?
Did you guys hear about the rancher who had 97 cows in his field?
Teacher, pin
When he
me for
rounded them up, he had
Teacher.
100.
teacher, pin my screen for everyone.
Hey, I like your knock knock joke.